So when Scream 2 came out right after Scream 1, they were basically trying to recapture that lightning in a bottle. Do it again ×2. But with the third installment, they were trying to show you something you never knew from the beginning. Not a sequel.
You are dealing with the concluding chapter of a trilogy.
Until they decided to make a part 4 and a pointless part 5. What up, guys? Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers, and thanks for coming back with some more popcorns. Real quick, before we get started, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the like button. Well, we're keeping the Scream train rolling with Scream 3. My second favorite one in the franchise. Yeah, that's right. For some reason, I like this one. Definitely like it better than part 2. So this one was still directed by Wes Craven, but it wasn't written by Kevin Williamson. I personally think that it was kind of a little better because of it. Just to have a little fresh take on it, that's all. Because remember, Kevin Williamson wrote an entire script for Scream 2 that got scrapped because of an internet leak. So at this point, this technically would have been his 4th Scream script. So I think he was just kind of wanting to take a break. So this one was written by Aaron Kruger. Wes Craven hired a writer with the last name of Kruger. So look, I like this one better than part 2. This one got rid of some of the cheese that part 2 had, in my opinion, but it also had some comedy in it that worked.
He was making a movie called Stab. He was stabbed.
Like in part 2, a lot of the comedy just didn't work for me, and this one the comedy works. And of course we have an opening kill, and I love how this opening kill wasn't just some rando. It was actually somebody you cared about. I love how it just immediately opens to Cotton. He's famous now, Cotton Weary, and he's got his show 100% Cotton, which makes sense because he was trying to get fame in the second one, always hassling Sydney about getting that interview. But I love the whole opening scene. And while I love the other kills in the other movies, especially the first one, this one has just a little more weight to it because it's somebody you know. It's a character you've gotten attached to now. But not only does Cotton get it, but his wife gets it, and I love that whole scene of them creeping around in the house with that Creed song playing. What if, what if, what if I... But for me, right away at the beginning of this movie, you see that it has just more of a serious route. The killer's voice sounds way more intimidating than it did in the last one.
It was a simple game, Cotton. You should have told me where Sydney was. Now, you lose.
The last one, I'm telling you, like I said, sounded goofy.
My pleasure.
The opening scene in the first movie shocked me because I thought Drew Barrymore was going to be the main lead of the film. In the second movie, it kind of shocked me because of just how out in the open it was, and it was just really well done. And this one shocks you because it is a main character of the franchise. So right away, I think that's a cool difference between all the opening kills of these 3 films, which was supposed to be a trilogy, I guess, even though they decided to make a part 4 and a 5 now. The first movie was in high school, second movie was in college. Now Sydney's an adult, and she works out like in the middle of nowhere for this like crisis hotline. Gail Weathers continues to get more famous speaking at colleges with this whack-ass haircut. Even she's admitted how much she hated that. And Dewey is now like this chief security officer for like actors. Because this movie takes place while they're filming Stab 3, which Cotton Weary was supposed to be a part of. And the whole premise of this thing is that people start getting picked off from the cast in order of the screenplay. So a person in the Ghostface costume is killing people in Stab 3 in order that they get killed in the movie. It's pretty clever. I like that right there. It's on the nose, and it sets up for some really cool scenes and moments in the film, in my opinion. And while this one has the original cast, it of course brings in new cast members as well. Scott Foley, who plays the director of Stab 3 in the movie. Jenny McCarthy as Sarah Darling, which is a great name. Dion Richmond, and my favorite, Parker Posey, who I love her. And there's some other recognizable faces in there, like Patrick Warburton and Lance Henriksen. Hell, even Roger Corman makes a little cameo in there. So this movie definitely knows what it's doing as far as being a Scream film. But for me, it does make a better story than part 2.
Mrs. Loomis?
Billy's mother.
Side note, I love it when they're on like the Hollywood studio lots, and you see Jay and Silent Bob actually are in it, and Courtney Cox went past him and...
Oh shit, Salvo, it's that TV news shit, Connie Chung. Hey Connie, how's Maury?
Classic Jay and Silent Bob line right there, hilarious.
Snoogans.
Oh, and since Cotton and his wife got murdered, there's some cops on the scene, and one of the cops, the lead detective, is Patrick Dempsey, Dr. McDreamy. And even in this, before Grey's Anatomy, he has all these moments where he's smoldering into the camera.
What's your favorite scary movie?
My life.
But just like any Scream movie, they're pulling you left and right, wondering who the killer is. Now that Gale, Dewey, and Sid are all here because Cotton got murdered, you got these actors in Stab 3 playing the cast from Scream 1.
Guys, this was about Cotton. We are not in any danger.
We are not in any danger, says Candy, page 15.
There's a girl playing Sydney, there's a guy playing Dewey, Parker Posey's playing Gale, which is hilarious. And she's the actor that Dewey's like head of security for, and of course it pisses Gale off, because Dewey and Gale are split up at the beginning of this. But like I said, this movie's taking place during the filming of Stab 3, so you're on the sets of Stab 3 a lot, which there's like the old house from Woodsboro, there's Stu's house. And remember I said it created for some creepy moments and some good scenes? It really does. Sydney's been having these dreams of her mother coming into her head. It turns out that the killer is leaving all these clues about Sydney's mom, who we find out had a different name. She had a whole different life. Which for me, that storyline works, because remember what happened to Sid's mom in the first movie? She was murdered, and it was Billy Loomis and all that stuff, and there was the whole affair going on, and just, it seems like that she was slightly a shady lady, and who's to say that she wouldn't have this other life, this other past? The kill scenes in this are okay, I have to say. They don't really blow me away or anything. The opening scene was good because of how dramatic it was, but other than that, they're just kind of eh. I do like when Jenny is running through the whole backstage area with all the multiple Ghostface costumes. That makes for a creepy moment, but then the kill itself is just kind of eh. In fact, this one is actually less horror and goryish and more of like an old school kind of whodunit mystery film. Yeah, there's some creepy moments and there are slasher movie moments, but the killer in this one is messing with them more. Like I said, leaving pictures of Maureen Prescott and her past life everywhere. At one point there's this scene where all the actors and Dewey and Gale and all them are in this like house up on the Hollywood Hills, but the killer's faxing them all these messages from the script, like one line at a time, and they're basically having to wait for these lines to see what happens and what they should do. I love the fact that they're all relying on a fax machine. It just shows how old the movie is. But two, I love Parker Posey and just her acting. The way she is in this movie is hilarious. I love her in everything though.
Ah! Who will survive? Is it Jennifer, Tom, Angelina, Dewey, Gale? The killer will get mercy too? She's alive! I want to know what happened! I want to know what happened! Jennifer. Hey!
My lawyer liked that.
Once things start getting crazier and crazier, they end up meeting up with Randy's sister. Yeah, that's right. I guess Randy had a sister we never heard of in the other two movies. And this part's a little eh. I guess Randy would have done this because of how much of a movie nerd he was, but he leaves behind this tape in case he got killed by another killer, explaining to everybody, I don't know. It's cool to see Randy in the movie, and you get a little emotional at one moment or two, but it's just kind of weird to me that he would predict that there would be another killer after part 2. And that's why he's leaving him this tape, so they can use it as a clue. I don't know, it's a little Scooby-Doo. But this is when the trilogy talk comes in. This is when Randy's is like, look, if you've got this happening again, you're not dealing with another sequel and another killer, you're dealing with a trilogy, which brings back something from the beginning that you never knew was true. It even references Return of the Jedi and The Godfather 3, all these things.
Godfather, Jedi, all revealed something that we thought was true that wasn't true.
And in this one, that thing she never knew was her mom had this past life that was not only an acting career, but she had a son. The killers arranged them to all meet up at Roman's house, who's the director of the film. But then when Gale and Dewey show up, they start warning everybody, Sid's on her way, and then people start dropping like flies. I will say the funniest part to me though is when the killer throws the knife at Dewey, and Dewey again just has this stupid scene and reaction. But for some reason I've grown to love it. I don't know why. And yet, that's right, the killer is Roman, the director of the movie, who turns out to be her long-lost brother, who was abandoned. I kind of like that. I think it kind of works. And the other thing I like is it's only one killer. It's not two killers. And the explanation behind why he's killing all these people and trying to kill Sydney, I liked it. I think it worked for me. Especially if you look at why Maureen got killed in the first movie. The fact that she was having an affair and sleeping around. Like I said, who's to say that she wouldn't have had this other life? And for some reason, this whole room that the third act takes place in, I just love that whole room. It's like this hidden theater in one of the guys' houses. I just really like the set. I just think it really feels cool. It looks cool. Feels creepy and gothic. Oh yeah, and Dewey jolts the electricity by plugging something into the socket.
Stand back.
Hilarious. So when it all goes down and Sid realizes the killer's her brother and he just wanted this life of hers that he never had, it starts to get kind of emotional, and like I like the way he dies right there. I wish it would have just ended slightly emotionally like that, instead of him just coming up again just like the other two movies and it's like, oh, shoot him in the head.
Head doing what? Head! Shoot him in the head!
It's just, it got redundant. We were expecting it. For me, sometimes I just think it needs to end a little more subtly, especially if it was supposed to be the ending at the time. I think doing something a little different, a little classier is cooler. Then it's a super happy ending with Gail and Dewey, and there's this whole like, will you sign my book? Ring hidden in the book thing. It's a little gushy. Sydney's all happy with the dog, and yeah, they're about to watch a movie with the detective, Patrick Duffy. Yeah, I guess that's what detectives do. They just hang out with the victims of the crimes they solved. But it does make you feel like it's like an end. Like, whereas the first one and the second one, it just felt like maybe some more stuff could happen. It's just the camera sort of panning out. This one, it like feels like an end. But all it took was a few years for them to cancel that out, just like they do with everything good these days. So Scream 3, it's a fun, scary movie. Does it have its flaws? Yeah. Is it as good as the first one? Hell no. None of them are. But I do think it's a fun, scary movie, especially if you watch it with some friends. So I give Scream 3 a B-. Well, that'll do it for this review, guys. Thank you so much for clicking on that video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Also, check out my teaser trailer on the channel here for my new short film coming up called Late Court with my filmmaking partner, Andrew Worley. Oh yeah, and one more thing. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you can help us make it to the top. And as always, if life gives you lemons, make some hot, fresh popcorns.
They want a conversation. I can handle fans. You see this, Stewie? I haven't had one of these in a year and a half. Someone's gonna pay for this.